Good morning, everyone. Nick has been up since what, 5:45, 5:30, to get the meat started on the grill. We beat the sun up. The moon is still out. So as you can see, he usually starts off with the ribs because they take the longest. They are cooking. Those big old leg quarters. So last night, to help with today's process, I went ahead and made all of our sauces for Sunday because I'm trying to increase my chance of going to the UCF game today. Go Knights. All right, I am going to teach you guys how to make my macaroni. It has been a lot of people asking me, how do you make it? Walking me through the tutorials. It's very simple. So first thing that I do is I bring a pot of water to a boil. In there I add some oil and some salt just so your noodles are not going to stick while they are cooking. That's the first step. All right, next you are going to bring your macaroni noodles to a boil. Now, if you are cooking for just your household, you need just one box. But if you are cooking a large size pan, like a Sterner size pan like that, you need 2 boxes of 16. After you cook them until they are done, I just rinse them off with water and I let all the water drain off for just a couple minutes. When you're done, you're going to shake it so that you can make sure all the excess water is off of your noodles. Meanwhile, while I had my noodles boiling, I get some milk, and if you are using a family size amount, I just get a pan about that size, a pot about that size, and I fill it up less than about 1/4 of the way, and then I get a stick of butter and I let that sit and melt in there and kind of start cooking up. And then once this mixture is almost to an end, all the butter has melted, I put in a handful of both types of cheeses. So I use mild cheddar cheese and I use sharp cheddar cheese. I'll show you that step when I get there. First, my butter has to. After that, you are going to pour your noodles into the pan, and I do this a little bit differently, I think, than most people, but I season my noodles before I put my milk sauce in there, my milk and cheese sauce, but just a little bit. So you kind of want to get those noodles seasoned before you pour the sauce in because it kind of makes it really blah. So I'm going to mix this together, and then I will show you my next step when I'm done mixing this really well. Your next step is you have to pour something into the noodles to bind them all together when you are baking. Who knows what you put into baking dishes when you want to hold it together? That's right, eggs. So what I did was I cracked about 6 eggs for this large dish. When I'm doing my family size, I just crack about 4 eggs, and I am going to scramble them really well. And then if your noodles are still warm, like I ran mine under cold water for a while, so they're about room temperature, a little warm. But if your noodles are still hot, it will cook the eggs right away. So in order for the eggs not to get cooked right away, as you're pouring it in, you have to stir it really quickly so those eggs won't get a chance to cook. Sometimes you'll see, and it's not a big deal, but sometimes you'll see that a little bit of the eggs are cooked while you're eating the macaroni. I'd rather them be cooked than uncooked, but you still can't change it. It doesn't change the flavor is what I'm saying. You can't taste it. So that's going to be the next step. I'm going to pour my eggs over my noodles. All right, after I have mixed that really well, you make sure you get those eggs into those corners and all throughout your macaroni, because when you don't, you'll have noodles that don't bind together, and they'll easily fall apart while you are eating it, which it's very hard to get the same macaroni every single time. It's going to take a lot of trial and error. I mean, sometimes I still feel like I need to make some tweaks, but here's where we are. So after you mix that well, you are going to take your milk, cheese, and butter sauce, and you are going to stir it really well and then pour it over the noodles. Here is where you determine how cheesy you want your macaroni to be. So like I said before, I just put a handful of the sharp cheddar and the mild cheddar into the sauce, but here is where I will add that extra cheese to my liking. I think I don't like a whole bunch of cheese, but see, this isn't enough. You can see little amounts of cheese in there. I've seen people cook their macaroni with just this amount of cheese, but I'm gonna add some more. I added about another handful of each type of cheese, and I'm gonna mix that together. Don't do too much, because don't forget, you are gonna add a layer of cheese on top before you put it in the oven to bake. I've stirred my cheese in there. My next step is to go back to my seasonings. So you are going to add in some more seasoning salt and pepper. That's what I used the first time, by the way. And just an even amount across the top of it. Then you're going to mix that very well. Your last step is to add that last layer of cheese on top. You stick it in the oven for about 35-40 minutes. This amount usually takes 40 plus. When you are baking a family-sized dish, like the glass dishes here, that only takes about 30-35, but you watch it. It's to your liking. I kind of like my cheese to start browning on top before I take it out. So that's what I like. There is that last layer, my friends. You spread it across the top, and I'm going to put it in the oven. I'll see you in about 40 minutes. Here is the finished product for my macaroni. I take foil and I cover it immediately, because if you've ever tasted dry macaroni, it is because there was not enough milk, or it was not covered after it was taken out of the oven and it dried out. That's it. So the last time I came to check on Nick, it was 7 o'clock. Now he is almost done. He has all the chicken on, the ribs are finished, the leg quarters are finished. He also has a brisket back there, and it is 11. We've been cooking for 4 hours right now. Looks delicious. Look at him. How you feel, babe?
I didn't even think about it.
It's all right. When you blind, better find somebody that's gonna lead the way for you.